噴鼻劑。咁消委會提醒咧，噴鼻劑嘅成分咧唔係人人都適合嘅，唔單止有機會令到患者咧越噴越鼻塞，影響患者服用其他藥物嘅效果，甚至對兒童發育，以致咧甚至會係高血壓、心臟病、糖尿病同埋長者嘅健康帶嚟咧好嚴重嘅副作用嘅。咁建議消費者使用之前咧，應該先由醫生作出診斷，並且喺購買嘅時候咧徵詢呢個藥劑師嘅意見，千祈唔好自己咧購買使用，以免因為誤用而可能引致其他健康風險。消委會咧同時都敦促商戶非法售賣處方藥物或者監督售賣藥物嘅屬於違法，切勿以身試法。今次咧我哋收集咗嘅噴鼻樣本咧共有20款，咁啊分開3類嘅。咁分別咧係皮質類固醇噴鼻劑、血管收縮劑噴鼻劑，以及咧鹽水噴鼻劑。咁售價咧係一樽都係40蚊至180蚊嘅。咁其中皮質類固醇噴鼻劑，咁啊大多屬於呢個處方藥物嘅，咁需要由醫生診斷或者認為適合先可以俾處方俾病人。部分咧係屬於監督銷售嘅藥物，需要註冊藥房，需要由註冊藥劑師評估同埋監督之後咧先可以售賣。不過喺今次調查裏邊咧，消委會嘅人員咧嘗試喺冇醫生處方下去到藥房購買呢啲皮質類固醇嘅噴鼻劑，結果咧成功購買咗6款標示為處方藥物，同埋另一款咧標示為監督售賣藥品嘅樣本。相關資料已經交由衛生署去跟進嘅。咁咩係皮質類固醇嘅噴鼻劑咧？咁皮質類固醇噴鼻劑咧係能夠舒緩一啲一定程度嘅鼻敏感嘅症狀，但係如果未經過醫生診斷或者藥劑師評估啦，消費者或者唔係好了解藥性，隨意咧自行係加減呢個劑量，或者係延長使用嘅時間，都可能引致嚴重嘅副作用嘅。消費者唔可以唔知道咧，如果長期使用，更有機會咧引致眼壓上升。所以咧用呢個治療期間咧，應該要接受定期嘅眼科檢查，以確保咧唔會出現青光眼等嚴重嘅副作用。咁另外其他咩副作用係常見咧？咁常見嘅副作用咧包括鼻裏邊有刺痛啦，或者係燒灼感啦、乾燥或者結痂啦、流鼻血啦、喉嚨乾燥啦、鼻痕啦、發紅啦同埋腫脹等等嘅。咁另外咧，如果較舊式嘅產品嗰個藥劑量咧會比較高嘅，咁所以長期使用咧亦都有機會妨礙咗兒童或者青少年嘅發育。雖然今次調查之中成功購得嘅6款處方藥物，全部喺標籤裏邊咧都可以話俾細路仔用嘅，但係為咗謹慎起見咧，家長咧千祈唔好喺未經過諮詢醫生意見之下，或者醫護人員嘅意見之下咧，自行喺坊間選購皮質類固醇噴鼻劑供子女使用。咁第2類嘅噴鼻劑咧就係常見嘅血管收縮劑啦嘅噴鼻劑。咁佢個優點咧就係可以迅速咧就係令到你覺得冇鼻塞啦。咁近年來唔少嘅鼻敏感嘅患者咧會自己喺外地咧嘅藥店或者藥莊咧係購買咧大量呢啲咁嘅血管收縮劑嘅噴鼻劑，同埋長期使用。但係咧用得越長咧就越容易鼻塞，個鼻仲塞啲添。咁最終咧就要求醫。咁其實咧，相關嘅血管收縮劑咧，唔係針對性去治療過敏嘅。咁剛開始嘅時候咧，因為血管嘅反應咧，就會有較大機會馬上收縮啦，所以令到患者咧覺得好似好咗啲咯，冇咁鼻塞咯。咁咧，但係如果我哋繼續使用，就越嚟越大問題啦。咁因為咧，血管收縮劑咧唔係適合長期持續使用嘅。如果連續使用超過1星期呢個通鼻塞嘅呢個咁嘅血管收縮劑嘅噴鼻劑咧，就有機會出現副作用。咁患者咧需要不斷再用啦，或者再加樣啦，咁所以嚟到獲得通鼻塞呢個效果。咁呢個咧就越噴越塞啦。咁有機會咧就係令到你係越嚟越頻密，越嚟越麻煩。咁今次咧收集嘅7款樣本裏邊咧，有6款咧就提及連續用藥嘅期限啦，或者警告嘅字眼。咁消費者使用嘅時候咧要特別注意嘅。另外，血管收縮劑呢個噴鼻劑咧可以令到血壓上升，咁所以如果你患有高血壓啦、心臟病、糖尿病或者長者咧，都唔係好適合嘅。而如果前列腺肥大嘅男士咧，亦都要注意使用之後咧，如果令到輸尿管咧有收窄嘅風險嘅，咁亦都唔係好適宜使用。如果我哋同時服用其他藥物嘅鼻敏感患者咧，係需要注意嘅。唔同藥性成分嘅噴鼻劑或者其他藥物咧，可能產生咧相互作用而影響個藥效。 其中咧抗真菌藥同埋抗生素紅霉素之中嘅 CYP3A4 抑鬱抑制劑同皮質類固醇噴鼻劑可以產生相互作用而影響呢個藥效嘅。而三環抗抑鬱藥劑簡稱咧 TCA 或者係單胺氧化酵素抑制劑簡稱 MAOI 同血管收縮劑同時使用嘅時候咧，有可能引致血壓上升。所以患者使用噴鼻劑嘅時候咧，一定要經過專業嘅醫護人士提供呢個，向佢哋提供呢個服藥嘅記錄啦，有冇食其他藥啦，以防萬一。咁總結咧呢個噴鼻劑嘅問題啦。咁第一，我哋想話俾你聽咧，呢啲咁嘅噴鼻劑咧係醫鼻敏感咧係有藥性嘅，咁所以唔係人人適用嘅嚇。咁其中兩大類咧，一個就係皮質類固醇嘅噴鼻劑，咁常見嘅副作用啦，我正話講過啦。咁就會有刺痛啦，或者覺得燒得好灼熱啦，乾燥啦，或者結疤啦、流鼻血啦，或者喉嚨乾燥啦、鼻瘧痕啦、發紅啦，同埋腫脹。咁長期使用咧，或者會引致咧就眼壓上升㗎嚇。咁所以咧要定期檢查眼睛啦，避免出現青光眼。咁咧亦都影響青年同埋兒童嘅發育㗎。咁所以我哋一定要按照醫生嘅指示咧，咁留意咧，尤其是係發育期嘅時候，細蚊仔咧更加要小心㗎。咁而且咧，記得咧，如果你同時食緊其他藥咧，佢有時會有相互作用㗎。咁所以一定要話俾醫護人員聽。譬如，如果你同時服用咗 CYP3A4 呢啲抑制劑，會相互影響，而影響呢個抑制劑嘅藥效。咁第二大類嘅噴鼻劑咧，就係血管收縮嘅噴鼻劑。咁我哋長期使用咧，咁令到鼻裏邊嘅血管咧，或者出現反彈性或者反應性嘅擴張，咁咧令到你咧就覺得噴咗都鼻塞喎，所以再噴，越噴越多嘅時候咧，就越嚟越鼻塞。咁啊長期使用咧就有問題啦，因為咧我哋話明咧唔能夠長期使用嘅，唔能夠超過1個星期。咁而咧係有啲人係唔適宜使用嘅嚇，譬如話有高血壓啦、心臟病啦、糖尿病同埋長者。如果男士嘅前列腺肥大嘅話咧，亦都可以唔好用，因為有機會令到咧嗰個輸尿管咧係收窄。咁亦都係同其他藥物咧會有一個相互嘅影響。咁如果大家係服用緊呢啲咁嘅藥物，譬如話三環抗抑鬱藥啦 TCA 啦，或者單胺氧化酵素抑制劑啦，譬如 MAOI 啦，都唔應該用呢個噴鼻劑，因為如果同時用咧，可能令到血壓係上升嘅。咁我哋就會睇啦。咁既然有咁多危險，究竟我哋買翻嚟啲噴鼻劑咧，其實個標籤得唔得咧？咁消費者咧，亦都係要使用之前咧，要詳列呢個咁嘅參考呢個產品標籤啦。咁但係我哋發現咧，個調查發現咗咧，部分樣本嘅標籤資料咧就有欠詳盡，咁要馬上改善嘅。咁綜合今次收集到嘅7款血管收縮劑噴鼻劑，有3款嘅樣本咧冇提及咧，可能同 TCA 或者 MAOI 出現嘅相互作用。另外2款樣本咧就未有提及咧，可以引致血壓上升嘅警示嘅。有1款咧冇標示到連續使用藥物嘅期限同埋警告。咁所以我哋購買呢啲鼻敏感患者去購買呢啲噴鼻劑之前咧，應該咧係獲得正確嘅診斷同埋處方，並且要注意以下事項嘅。第一，注意各種藥品嘅正確使用方法、用藥劑量、次數同埋連續使用嘅期限。咁我哋要注視產品嘅標示嘅儲存方法。咁另外咧就係，如果有時咧鼻敏感患者咧都可以選擇咧買一啲唔含藥性嘅噴鼻劑，譬如話鹽水噴鼻劑咧，亦都可以舒緩呢個病徵嘅。咁呢係關於噴鼻劑。咁第4個文章咧就係關於私營嘅骨灰龕位啦。咁咧大家都知道咧，香港寸金尺土啦，唔單止樓價係貴絕全球，連安份私人嘅骨灰龕位咧亦都係未供不應求或者龕位啦。私營嘅龕位咧就係售價動輒係幾十萬嘅，個別甚至係數百萬嘅。咁消費者委員會咧係調查咗本港多間持牌嘅私營龕位嘅服務同埋收費，發現龕場間嘅安放權費用參差，同一個龕場咧唔同檔次嘅單人龕位嘅費用咧可以相差近12倍，最昂貴嘅雙人位咧嘅費用可以接近520萬。另外，消費者購入咗龕位之後咧，除咗可能需要繳付各種嘅手續費、律師費、管理費或者行政費之外咧，亦留意任何改動，例如加名或者改名啦，隨時都要需要額外繳付過萬蚊嘅手續費。即使有意將先人嘅骨灰送往收費相對較低嘅境外安放， 消費者亦都要留意唔同地方嘅法規同埋上位手續，喺決定之前呢，應該清楚了解合約嘅內容或者收費嘅細節。消委會強調，購買骨灰龕位咧，唔單止涉及一筆過嘅大額費用，而骨灰安放期間可以達到25年或者以上嘅。期間有咩改動呢？譬如話龕位要轉名或者轉售啦，都會面對唔同嘅條件同埋限制，未必能夠如願以償。所以購買之前咧要深思熟慮同埋及早策劃。咁消委會職員咧，舊年11月至12月期間咧，就打電話去7間嘅持牌私營嘅龕場，並且咧以顧客身份咧到訪咗其中5間龕場，查詢有關嘅龕位嘅收費、安放權以及其他規定呢啲咁嘅資料。咁現時有提供龕位俾公眾售賣或者租用嘅5間龕場之中咧，除咗一間以劃一租金每年5000蚊嘅出售龕位安放權之外咧，其餘4間咧都要一筆過付款方式出租或者出售呢個安放權。但係咧，佢收費咧係好貴嘅，價格之間嘅差異咧亦都好大。單人位或者雙人位嘅收費咧，普遍介乎係20萬至60萬。但其中一個龕場嘅單人位嘅最低同埋最高費用，同一個地方亦都可以近20萬至大約249萬嘅相差，大約係12倍。而同一個龕場嘅雙人位安放權嘅費用最高近接近520萬嘅。咁較屯崖中雙人龕位費用最低嘅另一個龕場嘅20萬咧，相差係25倍嘅。咁消費者需要注意咧，收費差異咧主要視乎龕位所在區域啦、樓層啦、位置同埋檔次。咁雖然7間龕場咧表示簽約之後咧都有14天嘅冷靜期，如果顧客喺冷靜期之內咧取消合約可以退款，但係一般咧只係限於未使用嘅龕位。消費者喺購買龕位如果有機會更改受奉人嘅名字，係要十分留神，因為全部龕場咧都要求咧顧客喺簽約嘅時候咧需要提供龕位使用者嘅名字。其後一旦需要更改或者增加使用者嘅名字咧，就會遇到相關限制或者收費嘅。有4間私營龕場咧係唔容許顧客喺簽約之後咧更改名字，而另外3間咧雖然話可以改名，但係需要另行收費、收行政或者手續費。另外只有一間咧就話俾我聽嘅手續費咧係大約6000蚊港幣。其餘2間咧雖然話可以改，但係咧就冇清楚説明咧幾多收費同埋幾多金額。咁至於有啲係提供雙人位嘅，有2間嘅龕場咧，如果顧喺簽約時唔能夠提供第2位龕位使用者嘅資料咧，其後加名咧亦都要額外收費。咁除咗加名或者改名要收費之外咧，消費者亦都要付上名目繁多嘅雜費。譬如其中一間會話每個雙人位咧要一筆過收大約3萬蚊嘅管理費。咁另外2間嘅龕場咧就話簽訂合約之後咧要另外俾律師費，咁收費相差係19倍。分別為300蚊至同埋6000蚊嘅。另外7間龕場咧都有訂立咧龕位安放權嘅期限。喺骨灰安放大約1年之後咧，如果想一定期限之後咧，如果想繼續租用，都係涉及其他額外嘅收費。隨後之中，除咗1間嘅龕位安放權限至到2056年10月底之外咧，其餘6間嘅安放權限咧都係2047年5月底或者6月底。假若政府同意續批土地契約，並且用龕場以補地價嘅方式續期咧，6間龕場都會表示咧，已有安放權嘅人士咧需要承擔或者攤分咧補地價費用先能夠繼續使用，並且需要繳付續期費用、管理費用、行政費用同埋維修費等等。消費者如果想在龕位安放期限之前提早將骨灰拎走或者遷走咧，5間龕場咧都表示咧需要歸還龕位，同埋唔會退回餘下安放期嘅費用。另外有1間咧就可以容許自由轉讓。自從本港私營骨灰龕位需要領牌之後咧，龕位咧供應亦都好緊張，更加緊張。有服務商咧乘機咧宣傳境外龕位，聲稱合法，無需續牌或者可以永久擺放骨灰等等。消委會職員以顧客身份向3間分別提供澳門、廣州市同埋佛山市龕位嘅服務商查詢收費同埋購買手續，發現一般消費者咧好難知道呢啲境外龕位咧喺當地嘅合法性，同埋咧確認服務商所提供嘅資料嘅準確性。如果冇有任何嘅有效渠道去尋找準確資訊，有意購買嘅消費者咧要三思而後行。部分境外龕位嘅價錢咧係好吸引嘅， 不論襟位本身或者相關雜費咧，都較本地私營嘅襟位咧係低嘅。譬如其中一間澳門嘅私營襟場嘅代理表示咧，1至2個人，甚至係18個人咁多嘅家族位，費用咧大約係16萬至大約300萬。另外一間咧聲稱用1個價2個位嘅組合形式嚟到銷售，咁表示咧只需要購買一個本地嘅排位，即係夫妻位啦，就可以贈送一個廣州市指定襟場嘅單人位，咁費用咧就大約9萬蚊至大約28萬不等。但係消費者咧唔好因為便宜咧而匆匆下決定嘅。咁需要注意咧，3間服務公司都表示咧喺購買襟位嘅時候咧要一次過支付全部費用，同埋冇冷靜期嘅。咁簽約之後咧，如果取消咧都唔會有退款㗎啦。另外3間襟場咧都表示，顧客購買襟位之後咧，需自行安排先人骨灰運到當地上位，同埋辦理相關嘅手續。消委會提醒咧，儘管現時將先人骨灰咧運入或者運出香港境外咧，都唔需要向香港政府申請嘅。但係有啲國家或者地區咧，或者會要求申請人提供火葬證明書同埋遷移骨灰許可證，並且要求喺當地辦理相關安葬或者安放手續，先容許咧骨灰由香港咧運往其他地方。所以有意將先人骨灰咧送往外地安裝嘅消費者咧，或者安放嘅消費者咧，需要預先咧係理解當地嘅法律法規、申請程序同埋所需文件，以免咧係臨時投訴咧就係感到好彷徨啦。咁內地能夠提供俾本港居民嘅安裝或者安葬或者安放嘅設施咧，只係限於經營性嘅公務。我哋消委會咧係建議本港市民咧喺購買內地襟位之前咧，要小心查閱經營性同埋公務建設嘅許可文件、營業執照等等。由於本港居民咧唔能夠預先購買當地襟位作將來使用嘅，所以唔應該咧係輕信可以轉讓或者轉售嘅宣傳或者聲稱。佛山市消委會咧因為冇有介入呢個相關事務啦，所以就唔能夠好似澳門或者廣州市咁提供資料啦。咁所以佢哋相關佢哋襟場嘅當地規範資料咧，我哋都唔知道嘅，就好難作出參考。咁消費者咧係消委會建議消費者咧，無論係購買本地或者境外襟位咧，都係好貴嘅，涉及大量金錢。咁要注意以下事項。本港仍有為數不少嘅私營襟場咧未能夠獲得發牌，亦有中介公司咧代售二手私營襟位咧，為保障自身利益，消費者應該直接向持牌襟場咧購買。第二咧，即使係持牌私營襟場，如果未必全部襟位咧，佢亦都未必全部所有襟位喺個場裏邊咧，都係符合咗私營骨灰安置所發牌委員會嘅相關規定。咁消費者喺購買之前或者租用之前咧，應該同襟場咧確認你買嘅位置係屬於批准售賣同埋租賃嘅部分。第三，喺購買或者租用呢個襟位之前咧，應向襟場咧詳細了解合約嘅內容啦，包括付款安排啦、冷靜期嘅計算方法等。如果有需要，可向襟場索取合約樣本參考，並且確保咧需要支付嘅所有款項已經合約裏邊咧清楚列明。第四，消費者咧一般係好難查證咧係喺境外嘅襟位喺當地嘅合法性。咁現時香港亦都未有任何專屬法例咧係規管境外購買襟位，所以消費者喺購買之前咧應該向當地親友或者監管機關咧查證清楚，先至可以作出決定嘅。咁呢個係襟位。咁今日中文嘅最後一篇文章咧，就係呢個直播帶貨啦。咁疫情之下咧，市民都好習慣咧留家消費啦。咁網購喺新常態之下咧大行其道。咁唔少嘅網購平台咧就趁機以直播帶貨嘅銷售形式，營造熾熱嘅購買氣氛，令到消費者咧喺倉促之下咧未及詳細了解呢個產品嘅詳情咧，就匆匆落單購買。而一啲網購平台同埋社交媒體嘅售貨員咧，更加好似雨後春筍咁樣，哇！好快閃湧現。佢哋咧係善於利用消費者嘅執平貨啦、唔買走寶啦呢啲咁嘅心態，就標榜咧係超筍價、貨底價、結業清倉價等等嚟去進行促銷。部分咧更加要求買家咧將貨款咧直接存放至個人銀行戶口，但係收款之後咧就唔見咗人啦，銷聲匿跡，令到消費者咧係難以追討嘅。消費者委員會咧係高度關注喺疫情之下咧涉及呢個網購嘅投訴個案不斷攀升，部分咧更懷疑咧涉及欺詐成分，提醒消費者喺網購嘅時候咧必須提高警覺，保持理性，了解清楚產品質素、銷售條款同埋一旦需要退款或者退貨嘅時候嘅安排， 同時咧係揀咧較為穩健同埋具有口碑嘅網購平台，唔好衝動消費。所以指出咧喺新常態之下咧，為網購業咧帶來更多商機。咁促請咧就網店同埋銷售平台咧以殷實嘅手法咧建立商譽口碑，既有助於業務嘅發展，同時都保障消費者權益，達至買賣雙贏。咁我今日咧就用兩個個案咧，又介紹下我哋發現咗啲乜嘢。咁第一個咧就係其實佢加咗濾鏡嘅，所以個質量咧不似預期。咁投訴人咧喺疫情之下咧就唔能夠親身嚟到香港消費啦，就喺網購平台咧觀看咗 A 公司專櫃職員主持直播銷售珠寶首飾。主持人咧多次提及咧冇添加效果㗎，冇濾鏡㗎，係實物拍攝。咁投訴人咧睇中咗一隻咧就係黃色翡翠吊墜，打折之後咧大概係5200蚊港幣，同埋另一個咧就係綠色嘅花瓣吊墜，打折咗之後咧就大概3500蚊。咁覺得好平啦，就立即點擊咧就購買，並且俾咗錢添。咁但係當事主收到貨之後咧，發現嗰綠色花瓣吊墜咧係好輕嘅，同埋好細小嘅。而另一個咧係吊墜咧鑲嵌嘅黃色翡翠咧嘅色澤價直播嘅時候展示係暗淡。咁投訴人咧就聯絡網購平台，咁職員喺多番質問之下咧，承認直播期間使用咗美顏濾鏡。投訴人咧向 A 公司投訴後之後咧，獲回覆直播出售嘅係特價貨品，唔能夠退換嘅。咁事主咧就向消委會投訴。咁消委會咧分別聯絡咗網購平台同埋 A 公司啦。咁 A 公司咧其後咧為維持良好客戶關係咧，同意酌情處理，安排咗8700蚊嘅現金退款，個案咧得以解決嘅。咁第二個咧，咁人哋個以為好醒目啦，就係貨到先俾錢啦。咁啊投訴人咧就瀏覽咗一條咧就係銷售德國相機嘅網上貼文，並且咧按連結轉至咧就係銷售網頁啦。咁網頁咧就標榜出售一批近300部德國品牌嘅相機嘅清倉貨，售價咧係大約係498蚊港幣嘅啫。咁投訴人咧即刻撳掣就購買啦，咁啊就選擇咧就貨到付款嘅。咁幾日之後咧，速遞員就送貨嚟啦。咁投訴人咧就要求先開箱驗貨，但係速遞員咧就拒絕，強調咧對方簽收付款之後就離開啦。咁投訴人咧就俾咗錢啦，就於是咧就開箱之後咧就發現啦，呢個相機咧冇任何商標、包裝盒、說明書或者保養卡。咁立即咧前往 B 速遞公司咧嘅分店去交涉，要求咧唔好將代收嘅貨款咧交俾呢個發貨商，但係職員只係答應呢張貨件咧退還運貨單上嘅一座工廈嘅發貨地址。投訴人咧就自行咧就按照呢個發貨地址去查找啦，去揾呢個發貨商。但大廈管理處咧就表示有關嘅發貨商咧係冇嘅，唔喺個大廈裏邊嘅。咁所以咧事主就要向消委會嚟到求助啦。咁 B 速遞公司咧就書面回覆消委會，就係話資料顯示咧投訴人嘅退嘅貨件咧已經係送達到相關工廈嘅地址啦。公司咧唔會處理客戶與寄件一方嘅交易問題，強調咧貨不對版同速遞公司無關嘅。消委會咧就係曾經根據訂購相機嘅網頁裏邊嘅電郵地址嘗試聯絡啦，但係冇回音。投訴人咧亦都明白咧難以再繼續跟進啦。咁所以消委會咧就係提醒消費者喺付款之前咧應該先了解收款方係個人或者公司戶口，喺冇具體經營嘅營商資料之下咧，應該避免貨款由個人戶口收取，或者經派速遞公司嚟到代收貨款嘅。同時應該從不同嘅途徑咧查核網購商嘅背景同埋營商資料。如果網店或者專業只係有流動電話號碼或者僅以手機信息聯絡，未必可靠。如果發現專業係短期內開設，貼文內容單一嘅，應該格外小心。咁消委會呼籲消費者咧，疫情之下咧，除咗要加強防疫之外咧，仲有加強防疫保障身體健康之外咧，亦都要保持良好嘅購物心態，千祈唔好咧衝動消費，要提高警惕，先能夠避免墮入呢個網購消費陷阱。咁咧呢個係我哋今天咧係5章嘅中文嘅文章。Let me summarize the key finding of the 5 studies in English now. The first study is electric grills. Indoor grilling has become a widely popular cooking trend in recent years, and especially so during the pandemic, as citizens have been cooking more and dining out less. One simply needs to prepare the ingredients, plugged in the electric grill to enjoy freshly cooked food right off the grill, saving time from cooking. However, the Consumer Council tested the performance and safety of 11 electric grill models on the market and found various safety issues in 7 models with the risk of scalding or electric shock during use. The most severe model emits smoke and flames during the simulation of malfunction of thermal control and abnormal use according to the test standard, posing the fire hazard and showing dissatisfactory safety performance. The Council urged the relevant manufacturer to correct the problem promptly. Meanwhile, consumers should take extra care in using, especially those with children or pets at home, to avoid scald injuries resulting from accidental contact with the grill. As for the grilling performance, the average maximum temperature after preheating was found to vary by as much as over 200 degrees Celsius amongst models, while it was also common that the heat distribution in different locations for the same model was uneven, amongst which 3 models had a high-risk temperature difference of over 70 degrees Celsius, which might affect the food grilling performance. Besides, consumers should not overlook the amount of cooking fumes emitted from grilling food when using the electric grills indoors, as it could permeate furniture and clothes, leaving a greasy smell and degrade the indoor air quality and pose potential health risk. The 11 electric grill models tested range from 359 to 2,499 Hong Kong dollars in price. All were compact models which could be placed on the dining table to grill. When we test the safety test was conducted according to the latest version of the international standard, IEC 60335-1 and IEC 60335-29. One of the tests simulated the abnormal operation of the electric grill in order to see whether other protective device could operate normally in the event of the malfunction of some internal parts to avoid abnormal conditions from happening. During the simulation of the malfunction of thermal control while operating with 1.15 times input power, one model emits smoke and flames, causing the internal plastic material to melt, posing potential fire hazard to users. For another model, the test pin could be inserted into the thermal control connector to touch the internal live parts, reflecting insufficient protection against access to live parts. Product safety is a basic consumer right. Therefore, according to the international standard, the temperature rise of all parts of the electric grill should not exceed a specified limit to prevent scald accidents resulting from overheating. However, the test revealed a key concern that the temperature rise for 5 models in some parts, such as the handle of the grill plate, thermal control at tabletop, exceeded the limit by 6.9 K to 27 K. 1 K represents 1 degree Celsius. The Council alerts consumers, especially children or the elderly, to pay extra attention to the surface temperature of the electric grill during use to avoid scalding. 3 test models had an insufficient insulation distance between the live parts and the surface accessible by the users. Besides, the length of the earthing conductor of one model was insufficient. In the event of accidental tugging of the power cord or failure of the stabilization device, the earthing conductor might be the first to become loose, thus affecting the protection of the earthing terminal. Additionally, one model has small perforations at the base, which allow the test pin to be inserted to touch the internal part, posing potential risk of electric shock and reflecting that its construction required improvement. In the performance test, the models were preheated according to the instruction of the user's manual. It was found that the average maximum temperature after preheating vastly varied, with the grill plates of some models showing an average temperature of over 250 degrees Celsius. After preheating simultaneously for around 5 minutes, the average temperature of 2 models were measured at 283 degrees and 113 degrees Celsius respectively, a difference of 1.5 times. When compared with another model that did not provide preheating instructions and had an average maximum temperature of 315 degrees Celsius after preheating for 13 minutes, the maximum temperature difference amongst test models exceeds 200 degrees Celsius. Therefore, users should be mindful of the temperature after preheating and adjust the preheating time and temperature based on the type, size, and amount of ingredients so as to avoid over-grilling and affect the cooking performance. Manufacturers should also clearly label the electric grill's cooking temperature range and temperature after preheating to allow consumers to adjust the right temperature accordingly. The grilling performance could also be impacted by the unevenness of the heat distribution after preheating the grill. The performance of the model drastically vary in the test, with the temperature difference between different locations ranging from 23.4 degrees to 82.6 degrees Celsius. Amongst these, 3 models have a maximum temperature difference of over 70 degrees Celsius, reflecting drastically uneven heat distribution, meaning that the same ingredient would have different degrees of doneness when cooked on different locations of the grill plate. The test evaluated the model's grilling performance by cooking burger patties. After the models were preheated according to the instruction, the patties were then grilled to assess the evenness in temperature of the food when cooked on different locations of the grill, as judged by the center temperature and browniness of the patties. The results reveal uneven temperature amongst the burger patties, with the difference between the maximum and minimum temperatures ranging from 2 degrees to 18.7 degrees. For 3 models, the center temperature of the patty varied by more than 10 degrees, including the most expensive model, cost $2,499, which had a 15-degree variance between the patties. On the contrary, the cheapest model, which was $359, saw a relatively even temperature amongst its cooked patties, with a difference of merely 3.5 degrees Celsius. Once again, reflecting that price and quality are not always proportional. Consumers can still pay less for well-performing products. How about cooking fumes? Indoor grilling would release a large amount of cooking fumes, which could pose carcinogenic risk if the interior is not well ventilated. The test on the emission of cooking fume was based on the average amount of cooking fumes released when grilling one piece of burger patty, with 5 points being the highest, indicating a lower level of cooking fume emission. 2 models were only rated 2 points, including one which claimed to be a smokeless grill. So, when purchasing or using electric grills, consumers should pay heed to the following. First, some electric grills have a higher input power and should not share a power outlet with other electrical appliances that have high power consumption. Second, avoid touching the surface of the grill during cooking to prevent scald injuries, as the surface temperature of metal lids can be rather high, using a dry cloth or oven mitt to carefully lift the lid. Third, it's recommended to use wooden or silicone utensils instead of metal utensils when cooking on a grill, and never scrub the grill plate with stainless steel scrubber to avoid scratching the non-sticking coating. Lastly, some models come with a lid. Cover the grill with the lid during cooking to prevent cooking fumes from permeating the home interior. Be mindful of indoor ventilation to reduce inhalation of the cooking fumes, as well as preventing the smell from lingering in the house. The second paper for today is about stress-relieving toys. Just a minute. Poppers and squeeze toys have been popular in recent years, as they allow children to release stress through kneading and squeezing them. The Consumer Council tests 29 models of plastic toys in the market, amongst which 22 failed to comply with the requirement of EU toy safety standard on mechanical and physical aspects. 15 models were found to have structural safety problems. Under the result of the abuse test, simulating repeated pressing and pulling by children, some small parts and fluid leakage were found. If these small parts or fluids are ingested by accident, they may cause suffocation or other health risks. The findings were extremely undesirable. Besides the potential carcinogen, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon, PAH, was found in more than 85% of the test models. One model was not only detected with naphthalene level exceeding the upper limit of the German safety standard by nearly 4 times, but its carcinogen phthalate content also exceeded the Hong Kong regulatory limit by 250 times. Parents are advised to be cautious when selecting toys for the young children. Apart from paying attention to product safety, they should also consider the child's age and development stage, including intelligence and muscle, and to choose the safest and the most appropriate toys for them. Among the 29 plastic toy models in the test, price ranged from $10 to $159. And the test result revealed that under the tension test, all 8 stress-relieving silicone toys would break into small parts. The same happened to 2 bath toys under the tension test for the reasonably foreseeable use or abuse of toys, amongst which the inflation valve of one inflatable toy fell off after the test. For 3 squeeze toy models, small parts also fell off in the tension test. If toddlers or children swallow the small parts by accident, there might be airway blockage resulting in suffocation risk. In addition, the elastic constant of one squeeze toy model, a yo-yo, exceeds the upper limit of the standard. Children playing with it could be injured by the rebounds of the yo-yo. Moreover, 3 squeeze toy models were found with fluid leakage after the tension test. Since some of these toys imitate food elements, this could easily cause children to drink the fluid by accident. All the models mentioned above fail to comply with the EU toy safety standard. As children play with toys for a long period of time and may even put them into their mouth, both structural and material safety are equally important. Chemicals such as DEHP and BBP, found in the commonly used phthalate, are possible carcinogenic and may also damage the male reproductive system. Women in contact with DEHP during pregnancy may also affect the development of the fetus. Test results revealed that DEHP was found in 3 models, amongst which the model with the highest level reached 25%, which was 205 times the upper limit of Toys and Children Product Safety Ordinance. At the same time, this squeeze toy was detected with BBP, while another bath toy model was detected with BBT but at different concentration, a lower concentration of 0.006% to 0.028%. The Council has already submitted the test results and product information to the Customs and Excise Department for follow-up. Apart from phthalate, pH are also impurities commonly found in plastics, rubbers, and lubricating oils, mainly causing harm to the human respiratory tract and skin. Many pH are confirmed to or potential carcinogens. Results show that pH were found in more than 85% of the models, among which 2 had definite levels exceeding the upper limit of the German safety standard by almost 4 to 11 times. Currently in Hong Kong, there has been no upper limit of pH set for toy and children's products. The Council recommends authorities to further enhance the safety requirement for children's products, making reference to relevant international standards and regulations. At the same time, manufacturers are also responsible for trying their best to lower the pH levels of the product in order to safeguard children's health. The Council advised parents to refer to the following tips when choosing toys for their children. First, read the instruction on package label carefully. Second, children aged 3 or below may often put items into their mouth. Parents should avoid letting children come into contact with toys that are too small, so as to reduce accidental swallowing and suffocation risk. Last, parents are advised to play with their children. Not only does this improve parent-child relationship, but also reduce the chance of misuse. The third paper for today is about nasal spray. Allergic rhinitis, commonly known as hay fever, is one of the common urban diseases that has deeply disrupted the lives of many Hong Kong people. Many sprays for soothing allergic rhinitis or nasal congestion contain pharmaceutical ingredients, and some are even classified as prescription drugs. A recent survey conducted by the Consumer Council found out that consumers could easily purchase various prescribed nasal sprays. The Council reminds that the ingredients in nasal sprays may not be suitable for everyone. Not only will spraying cause increased stuffiness, but it will also affect the efficacy of other medications, or even affect children's growth, people with hypertension, heart diseases, diabetes, and the elderly, and cause severe adverse health effects. Consumers are advised to seek doctor's diagnosis before use, and pharmacists advise when purchasing. Do not decide to buy or use on one's own to prevent potential health hazards caused by misuse. The Council also urged traders to stop illegal selling of prescription drugs or drugs under supervised sales, which could lead to legal consequences. The 20 nasal spray models collected for the survey could be classified into 3 categories: corticosteroid nasal sprays, vasoconstrictor nasal spray, also known as decongestants, and saline nasal sprays, ranging from $40 to $180 per bottle. Corticosteroid nasal sprays are mostly prescription drugs that require doctor's diagnosis and prescription. Some are listed as drugs under supervised sales, which can only be sold in registered drugstores, with the assessment and supervision of registered pharmacists. Nevertheless, council staff tried to purchase corticosteroid nasal sprays without doctor's prescription at various drugstores for this survey, and successfully purchased 6 models labeled as prescription drugs, and 1 model labeled as drug under supervised sales. The relevant information has been submitted to the Department of Health for follow-up. Corticosteroid nasal spray can relieve the symptoms of allergic rhinitis to a certain extent. However, if it's not diagnosed by doctors or assessed by pharmacists, consumers increasing or decreasing the dosage or prolonging the use times by themselves may lead to severe adverse effects. Common side effects include a stinging or burning sensation in the nose, dryness and scrapes, nosebleeds, dry throat, itchy nose, redness, and swelling. Consumers should know that long-term use may even lead to an increase in intraocular pressure. Therefore, regular eye examinations should be taken during drug treatment to pre-examine severe adverse effects such as glaucoma. Moreover, older models contain a high concentration of pharmaceuticals, and the continued use may also hinder children's or adolescents' growth. Though the 6 models of prescription drugs successfully purchased in this survey were all labeled as suitable for use by children, yet, for prudence sake, parents should never buy corticosteroid nasal sprays for children without consulting a doctor. Another common type is the vasoconstrictor nasal spray. In recent years, many patients with allergic rhinitis have purchased large quantities of vasoconstrictors from overseas drugstores or cosmetical stores for long-term use. Yet their nasal congestion worsened with use, and they eventually had to seek medical help. In fact, the related vasoconstrictor is not a target treatment for allergies. At the beginning, blood vessels would show a stronger reaction and contract immediately. So patients would think that the nasal spray is effective and continue using it. However, vasoconstrictors are not suitable for long-term continuous use. Side effects may occur if the spray is used consecutively for more than 1 week. Patients would require constant application to alleviate nasal congestions, resulting in increasing frequent application. Yet, the congestion may get even worse. From the 7 models collected, 6 mention the duration of the continued use or provide warnings. Consumers should pay special attention in using. In addition, as vasoconstrictor nasal sprays can increase blood pressure, it's not suitable for patients with hypertension, heart diseases, diabetes, and elderly. Men with prostate glands enlargement should know the risk of urethral constriction after using this type of nasal sprays, which are not suitable for them. Allergic rhinitis patients who are also on other medications should be aware that different nasal sprays could interact with other medications, affecting each other's efficacy. Among them, CYP3A4 inhibitors in antifungal medication and antibiotic erythromycin could have drug interaction with corticosteroid nasal sprays, affecting each other's efficacy. While tricyclic antidepressant, TCA, or monoamine oxidase inhibitors, MAOI, when used together with vasoconstrictors, may cause a rise in blood pressure. As such, before using nasal sprays, patients should let medical professionals know the medication they are using for assessment of possible interactions. Consumers are strongly advised to read the product labels carefully before using these nasal sprays. However, the survey revealed that some models lack sufficient details on their labeling and should be improved immediately. Before purchasing nasal sprays, patients with allergic rhinitis should receive proper diagnosis and prescription while paying heed to the following. First, paying attention to the correct usage, dosage, frequency, and duration of continuous use of each drug. Second, be mindful of the storage method indicated on the product. Lastly, patients with allergic rhinitis can choose non-medicated saline nasal sprays to relieve symptoms. The fourth paper today is the pirate conabarium leaves. Property prices in Hong Kong are the highest in the world. Demand for conabarium facilities has also outstripped supply, with private conabarium leaves selling for several $100,000, and in some cases, even up to several millions dollars. The Consumer Council surveyed the surface and fees of several licensed private conabarium in Hong Kong and found the interment right fees to vary considerably. Single leaves of different grades within the same conabarium could vary up to about almost 12 times, while the most expensive double leaves cost close to 5.2 million Hong Kong dollar. Besides, after purchasing the conabarium leaves, aside from various costs such as the handling charge, solicitor's fees, management fee, or administrative charges, consumers should also bear in mind that any changes, such addition or change of the name, may incur handling surcharge of over $10,000. Some may consider interring ancestors' remains in conabarium outside Hong Kong, which are relatively more affordable. However, consumers should pay heed to the statutory requirements at different regions, as well as the interment arrangement, and to ensure that they fully understand the content of the contract and detailed charges before making a decision. The Council stressed that not only does the purchase of conabarium leaves involve a high lump sum cost, the interment period could also be as long as over 25 years. Should there be any changes during this period, such as a name change or reselling of the lease, consumers may be faced with different conditions and limitations that could deter the changes. With this in mind, consumers should contemplate carefully and plan well in advance. The Council made telephone inquiries with 7 licensed conabarium operators and paid mystery visits to 5 of the conabaria, inquiring about the fees, interment rights, as well as other rules and limitations. Among the 5 conabaria that currently offer lease for public purchase or rental, one net out the interment rights of lease for a uniform annual rental fee of 5,000 Hong Kong dollars, while the remaining 4 leased or sold the interment rights for a lump sum. Yet the cost was substantially and vastly varied. The cost for single or double lease generally range from around 200,000 to 600,000. Yet for one conabarium, the cost of single lease range from the lowest of 200,000 to the highest of 2.49 million, a stark difference of almost 12 times. For this same conabarium, the interment right fees for double lease cost as much as almost $5.2 million, 25 times more than the lowest price double lease, which is only 200,000 in the survey from another conabaria. Despite all 7 conabarium offer a 14-day cooling off period after signing the contract, which allow consumers to cancel the contract and get a refund within the cooling off period. It could generally only apply to unused lease. Consumers who might need to change the name on the lease should be aware of the arrangements, as all surveyed conabarium required consumers to provide the name of the lease user at the time of signing the contract. Limitation or surcharge could apply for any change or addition to the name thereafter. Apart from the charges for adding or changing names, consumers also have to bear miscellaneous fees under various pretexts. Okay. Besides, all 7 conabarium had a set duration for the interment rights of lease. After the remains have been interred for a designated period, other surcharge may be incurred if the consumer wishes to renew the lease. Apart from one conabarium that had lease interment period until end of October 2056, that for the other 6 would expire at the end of May or end of June 2047. Since licensing was required for local private conabarium, the supply of lease has further diminished. Some service providers took this opportunity to promote conabarium lease situated outside Hong Kong, claiming that they were legal, renewal of license was not required, or that the remains could be interred permanently. Posing as mystery shoppers, Consumer Council inquired with 3 service providers for conabarium lease in Macau, Guangzhou, and Foshan about the pricing and purchasing procedures. It was found that general consumers would have difficulties verifying the local legality of columbarium leaves outside Hong Kong, as well as confirming the accuracy of the information provided by the service provider. If there is no effective means to find accurate information, interested consumers should think twice before buying. Some columbarium leaves outside Hong Kong boast attractive prices that are lower than private columbarium in Hong Kong, both for the leaf itself and related miscellaneous fees. However, consumers should not make hasty decisions because of these seemingly affordable deals. It should be noted all three service providers stated that the full payment was required upfront when purchasing the leaf, and no cooling off period would be provided. No refund will be offered in the event of contract cancellation. Besides, the three columbarium operators declare that consumers need to make their own arrangement for transporting the cremains to the location of the leaf for interment, as well as handling related procedures. The Council reminds consumers that although the Hong Kong government does not require any application for transporting cremated remains into and out of Hong Kong, some countries or regions may request applicants to present a certificate of cremation or authorization to remove cremated ashes and handle relevant burial or interment procedure with the local jurisdictions before they can transport the cremains from Hong Kong to the location of the columbarium. Therefore, consumers who wish to inter their ancestors' cremains outside Hong Kong should firstly understand the local regulation, application procedure, and required documents to prevent mishaps. The mainland's burial and interment facilities available for Hong Kong residents are limited to commercial crematories. Remember this. The Guangzhou Consumers Commission reminds Hong Kong citizens to scrutinize the permit documents and business license of the commercial cemetery facilities before buying columbarium leaves in the mainland. As Hong Kong residents are not allowed to pre-purchase leaves in the mainland for future use, consumers should not easily believe promotional claims of transfer of ownership or reselling. The Foshan Consumer Commission were unable to provide relevant information for the consumers' inquiry, as they did not partake in relevant affairs. However, they provide the relevant regulation of the Guangzhou province for references. So purchase of columbarium leaves both within and outside Hong Kong involves high costs. Consumers should pay heed to the following. First, there is still a number of unlicensed private columbarium in Hong Kong, whereas some intermediary companies are commissioned to resell second-hand private leaves. Consumers should buy directly from licensed columbarium operators to safeguard their own rights. Second, even for licensed private columbarium, it's possible that not all the leaves comply with the regulatory requirement of the Private Columbarium Licensing Board. Before buying or renting, consumers should confirm with the columbarium operator whether the lease is approved for sale or lease. Third, inquire with the columbarium regarding the details of the contract, such as the payment arrangement, how the cooling off period is counted. Lastly, it may be difficult for the general consumers to verify the local legality of columbarium leaves outside the city. As there is no specific legislation regulating the sales of columbarium leaves outside Hong Kong, consumers should check with relatives or friends residing in the locale or local authorities before making a decision. The last one for today is about live streaming e-commerce and online sale. Under the pandemic, the public has become accustomed to shopping from home, feeling the prevalency of online shopping under the new normal. Many online shopping platforms have grasped the opportunity to create viral buying trends through live streaming e-commerce, spurring on consumers to place orders before they had time to fully understand the product details. Online shopping platforms and social media sales pages have sprung up, exploiting consumers' sentiment of fear of missing out. We say FOMO, and desire for bargains by touting selling price such as best deal ever, rock bottom price, clearance sale, etc. Some even require buyers to deposit the payment directly into personal bank accounts, but disappear after receiving the payment, making it impossible for consumers to seek redress. The Consumer Council is highly concerned about the rising number of complaints involving online shopping during the pandemic, with some cases even suspected to be frauds. Consumers are reminded to be vigilant and rational when shopping online, to understand the quality of the products, the term of sale, the refund and return arrangement, and to select more robust and reputable online shopping platforms while refraining from impulse buying. The Council pointed out that while the new normal has brought more business opportunities to the online shopping industry, online stores and sales platforms are urged to establish solid reputations through honest practice, while not only helps build business development but also protects consumers' rights, thus relieving a win-win situation. I'm reporting one case for your reference today. The complainant was unable to personally come to Hong Kong to shop during the pandemic. She watched a live stream sales section of jewelry hosted by the counter staff of Company A. The host repeatedly mentioned that the live stream was shot with the actual products without applying any filter effect. The companion favored a yellow jade pendant worth around $5,200 after discount, and another green petal pendant worth around $3,500 after discount. She immediately clicked to buy and pay. However, after receiving the goods, the companion found that the green petal pendants were very light and small, while the color of the yellow jade pendant was duller than that in the live stream. The companion contacted the shopping platforms, and the staff admitted to have used a beauty filter during the live streaming after being queried repeatedly. The companion then complained to Company A and received a reply that the goods sold during the live stream were discounted items with no return or exchange. The companion then lodged a complaint with the Council. The Council contacted the shopping platform and Company A respectively. Eventually, Company A agreed to handle the case with discretion and arrange a cash refund of $8,700 as a gesture of goodwill. The case was thus successfully resolved. Therefore, the Council reminds consumers to ascertain whether the payee is an individual or company account before making a payment. In the absence of a specific business information, they should avoid making payment to personal bank account or have the payment collected by the delivery company. Also, the background and business information of online sellers should be verified through different channels. Websites or pages may not be reliable if they only provide a mobile phone number or are only reachable through mobile phone messages. Consumers should be more cautious if the page is found to be set up very recently and or the post content is monotonous. Under the pandemic, the Council urged consumers not only to step up anti-epidemic measures and take good care of their health, but also to maintain a positive shopping mentally, refrain from impulse buying, and increase vigilance to avoid falling into online sales traps. These are the report for today. Thank you.
唔該晒譚教授。咁而家輪到提問嘅環節。首先我哋係問關於電燒烤爐嘅問題嘅。商業電台問到咧，着火嘅樣本若果喺正常情況下使用有冇安全問題？消委會會建議用家會唔會建議用家掉咗同款嘅燒烤爐咧？如果唔掉嘅話，可以有啲乜嘢預防嘅措施咧？
我哋今次測試咧，有7款咧係未能夠通過呢個安全測試嘅。咁其中一款嘅燒烤爐咧，其實就係有問題，因為咧我哋做呢個喺不正常情況之下嘅操作嘅時候咧，係會有煙啦，同埋會有呢個着火嘅危險嘅。咁所以咧就係我哋覺得應該立即停用嘅。如果買咗呢一款嘅，並且咧同代理商咧聯絡安排更換貨品啦，以策安全。咁其餘6款咧雖然都未能夠通過呢個安全測試喺呢個唔正常之下。咁但係經過機電工程署評估之後咧，咁機電工程署認為消費者咧，如果喺正常使用之下咧，係唔會構成危險嘅。咁但係如果當你用嘅時候咧，發現咗出現異常情況啦，譬如話有啲怪味啦，有啲怪聲啦，咁或者太過熱啦，咁應該馬上停用以策安全嘅。咁所以咧就係有一款咧係會冒煙着火咧，就小心啲啦，就應該停用，俾翻呢個代理商咧去聯絡去更換。另外6款咧就用嘅時候咧就安全嘅，不過咧就要注意有咩問題。咁尤其是屋企裏邊咧有細蚊仔、老人家咧，就要記住啦。如果真係太熱嘅時候咧，就要注意佢哋用嘅時候咧係要小心啲啦。
就住呢個着火嘅樣本咧，記者哋亦都有特別問到咧，個代理商就指對於測試結果感到疑惑，又話測試係喺非正常下操作先至會發生問題。消委會有咩回應咧？
好啦，咁我哋呢個非正常操作嘅測試咧係根據 IEC 國際安全標準嚟到進行嘅。咁個目的咧，其實係測試樣本嘅部分內部零件咧，如果失靈之後， 其他嘅保護裝置咧能夠正常運作，呢個好重要好重要嘅。咁咧如果佢唔能夠正常運作咧，咁如果部分零件失靈咧，就會令到個燒烤出現異常嘅狀況咧，就唔能夠達到我哋嘅標準。所以呢個咧係國際安全標準嘅要求，就唔係特別我哋挑剔嘅。呢個第一個。咁呢個所謂非正常操作嘅測試咧，就係我哋係要將呢個模擬溫度嘅調節器咧，令到佢失靈，同埋咧用1.15倍嘅輸入功率裏邊操作。咁即係話咧專登令佢失靈，但係其他保護裝置應該可以保護我哋嘅，所以就唔應該着煙同埋冒火，即係冒煙或者着火啦。咁所以呢一款咧係會咁嘅情形之下咧係冒煙着火咧係在咧係不能使用嘅，不能掉以輕心，因為你唔知道幾時咧邊個內部零件出咗問題，或者佢突然間個失靈嘅時候會點樣樣。咁所以即係話咧，我哋會覺得應該係即刻停用。尤其是喺2021年6月至9月期間購買呢一款燒烤爐嘅消費者咧，真係馬上停用，同埋同代理商咧就聯絡安排更換貨品以策安全嘅。
咁跟住落嚟，我哋係舒壓玩具嘅問題嘅。This question comes from RTHK, the English channel. Given the potential dangers found in the stress-relieving toys, would the Consumer Council recommend parents not to buy them at all?
Actually, I think we point out the problem and the safety issue of these squeeze toys. And so when the parents purchase these toys, they have to pay attention to what we have discovered or we have found out. For example, you have to know the age of your children, if they are 3 or below 3. They are easy to swallow or take in the small part. Therefore, if the toys have small part easily falling off, you have to pay extra attention on that. And also, if when they squeeze, the fluid will leak out, and most of them will similar to food or intimate the food. Therefore, it's very easy to the children to swallow it or taking it in because they think they are juice. And therefore, the parents need to pay attention to this kind of issues. And so when the parents purchase this, they have to bear in mind a number of things. One is pay attention to the label, the instruction on the packaging, so to know what kind of material they are and what are the safety issues. Second, when the children is age 3 or below, and knowing that they will easily to put the item into the mouth and they will squeeze and a small part will come out. Therefore, they have to make sure that when the children play around with these toys, they have to be around to help the children to pay attention on that, so to avoid letting the children to come into close contact of that one. Anyway, we actually very, very much would like the parents to play together with the children. This not only does improve the parents-child relationship, but also reduce the risk or the chance of mistake or misuse.
I just want to have one point to supplement. If the product, according to our test, exceeds the PAH limit, we highly recommend not to play with it. Reasons being is it can easily be transmitted through the skins when you touch it, and even through your when you respirate. So if it is not exceeding the limit, of course, it is far better. Then, you have to wash your hand every time, after you play with it. So bear in mind, whether it exceeds the PAH limit or not. If it exceeds, better not to play with it, because you have many toys at home. So while you play with one, that exceeds the limit.
Okay, sorry, I forgot this chemical safety issues. Actually, there's 2 chemical safety issues here. One is the phthalate problem. And you all know phthalates, they are known to be possibly carcinogenic, and they may affect the male reproductive system and so on. And in our test, we do find some product containing the phthalate compound DEHP or BBT exceed the standard. And therefore, this product has already referred to Custom and Exercise Department to follow up. So if the parents found one of the toys is belong to this product, and they should not let the children to use it. The second one is PAH, as mentioned by our CE. PAH is actually toxic and carcinogenic, particularly the 2-ring PAH, which is naphthalene. And naphthalene is volatile, and therefore it can be easily taken in by the children through breathing, inhalation of that. And actually, 2 models had naphthalene level exceed the upper limit of the German safety standard of almost 4 to 11 times. So although Hong Kong has no regulation on the limit of PAH except for toy and children's product, but I think if your product belong, or your toy belong to this product, and the PAH, particularly naphthalene, is higher than the standard, I think it should not let your children to play around with these toys.
中文嘅傳媒都有類似嘅問題，咁我先分開部分問啦。咁其中有問到咧，就係29款入面咧，係咪只有4款咧係冇致癌物咧？咁而有驗出有 pH 嘅玩具咧，有幾多款嘅含量係超出咗歐盟同埋德國嘅標準？
好，咁我哋咧就依家做嗰啲裏邊咧，正話你講得啱啦，係有80%嘅樣本咧係有致癌嘅多環芳香烴啦。其中一款咧，唔單止內嘅檢出含量咧超出咗呢個安全上限近4倍，呢一款嘅產品咧更加驗出咗可致癌嘅塑化劑嘅含量咧係超出咗香港法例要求上限嘅250倍嘅。咁所以咧，即係話如果你屋企有呢啲玩具咧，你係最好咧就唔好俾小朋友用啦。咁你選購嘅時候咧，就最好唔好俾去用呢樣嘢啦。咁呢個係關於呢個致癌物質，就係 pH 同埋呢個pH 嘅問題。咁如果好詳細嘅話咧，你會發現到咧，其實咧我哋測試中咧呢個 pH 咧，即係呢個所謂塑化劑咧，咁塑化劑其中有2個咧就係 DHP 同埋 BBP 嘅，咁都係可以令到人類有致癌嘅。咁甚至咧可以影響咗男性嘅生殖系統。咁尤其是咧，如果孕婦其實媽媽咧都要小心啲嚇，咁會有機會咧呢個 DHP 咧影響咗胎兒嘅發育嘅。咁我哋發現咗測試裏邊咧3款樣品咧驗出嘅 DHP 係有嘅。而其中一款咧最高咧係25%嘅，咁係達到咧我哋其實有限嘅，就係玩具及兒童產品安全條例上限嘅250倍。咁呢一款咧就係可以擠壓嘅玩具咧，同時亦都除咗 DHP 之外咧，亦都檢出有0.06%嘅 BBP 嘅。咁另外有一款咧沐浴玩具咧，亦都檢出咗有0.06至0.028嘅 BBP 嘅。咁呢啲資料亦都交咗俾咧呢個海關嚟到跟進嘅。咁至於 pH 啦，我正話話咧係會係有致癌物質同埋毒性啦。咁我正話講啦，80%即係25款樣本咧有 pH 嘅。咁其中2款嘅內咧，正話我都講咗一次啦，因為好重要嘅，就係超出咗咧德國嘅安全上限4倍至11倍。咁啊，正話我哋講啦，呢個內咧係一個兩個環嘅一個多環芳香烴，咁係屬於第2類嘅致癌物質同埋第4類嘅急性毒性物質。咁而呢個咧係有揮發性嘅，所以咧除咗皮膚之外，都可以直接由呼吸吸入到去個人體裏邊嘅。咁雖然香港目前咧冇就呢個兒童產品或者玩具裏邊嘅 pH 咧定一個上限啦，咁但係消委會咧建議咧政府咧都要參考國際標準，就與時並進啦，就提升咗呢個安全產品嘅。咁而生產商咧亦都盡量咧係減少用呢個塑化劑同埋 pH 嘅含量，嚟到保證呢個兒童嘅安全。
係咁香港電台繼續咧就就住呢個 Poppy 呢個玩具咧做一個例子咧，想問下小朋友通常咧都會用手指去篤呢啲玩具，咁用皮膚接觸，因為玩呢啲玩具皮膚接觸到 pH 嘅機會有幾大咧？咁玩嘅時候要留意啲乜嘢？係咪玩完之後要洗手啊？咁樣樣咧？
好啦，咁如果一般嚟講咧，你買去捽啊，買喺度捽咧，咁其實咧好嘅產品咧，咁個 pH 咧就唔會應該咁容易出咗嚟嘅。不過如果有啲產品我哋驗到咧係有內啦，甚至有啲有比啦，即係4個環嘅多環芳香烴，咁甚至有啲係仲多啲嘅，咁係有機會咧，你買喺度捽咧，接觸得越耐咧，有機會係透過呢個皮膚係入咗去身體裏邊嘅。咁但係一般嚟講咧，呢個就唔係好常見。咁同埋如果有個好習慣咧，就係玩完之後即刻洗手啦，尤其食嘢之前即刻洗手啦。因為除咗皮膚之外咧，你個手咧摸過呢啲玩具咧，再食嘢嘅時候係有機會個口咧入咗落去嘅。咁所以有一個好嘅習慣咧，係要即刻洗手啦，係清潔乾淨。咁另一個好重要嘅咧，如果有啲你擠下之後咧，有啲液體流出嚟啦，咁你唔知嗰啲液體係咩嚟噶嘛？咁如果佢嗰個產品本身又俾我哋驗到有呢個 pH 多環芳烴或者有塑化劑，咁我又唔知嗰啲液體有冇喎。咁佢哋嗰啲生產商就將啲液體咧整到好似食物咁喎，好香喎。咁如果食咗落肚咧，就比皮膚咧係更加問題大啦。咁所以我哋眼中咧就係譬如內咧可以呼吸咧係問題嘅，如果液體流出嚟咧可以食咗落去飲咗落去係問題嚟嘅。玩完之後咧唔洗手而食嘢係問題嚟嘅。至於直接皮膚咧，咁我覺得咧就我個人認為咧就係問題少啲嘅。咁但係咧都係應該有個好嘅習慣咧，就係第一睇個產品說明書咯，就冇呢啲產品啦。第二咧或者冇啲成分啦。第二咧就係要有洗手咯，洗完手先好食嘢或者摸嘢咯。
呢度補充一句，就係若果係有呢一個 pH 嗰陣時咧，就大家都要留意下咧，你嗰個玩嗰個環境咧係咪有空氣流通？因為始終呢一個 pH 咧都可能會係從呢一個呼吸嗰度去吸入啦。咁所以若果你可以保持嗰個室內嗰個空氣嘅流通嘅話咧，咁其實喺嗰個安全嗰方面咧都會有啲幫助。
大家唔使咁緊張，因為其實有好多種嘅多環芳香烴啦。咁係內咧係最容易揮發性嘅啫，就最容易有呼吸去吸入咗。咁其他咧多環啲嗰啲咧，譬如話我哋髀或者係本並髀咧，其實就多啲環咧係揮發性比較低嘅，咁所以咧個擔心就唔會咁大。不過始終咧就係玩玩具，尤其是3歲或者以下嘅小朋友咧，家長係要注意嘅，係要同佢一齊玩，或者盡量咧係喺買產品嘅時候咧睇翻個商品說明書裏邊，係證明咧係冇呢啲產品嘅。
就住消費建議方面咧，有線電視就問到，相比起塑膠玩具咧，消委會會唔會覺得有冇建議邊啲玩具比較安全呢？
其實真係好難去講話係邊一類嘅玩具係會比較安全，因為其實細路仔玩嘅玩具有好多唔同嘅款，有啲係砌積木啦，有啲係可能係單車啦，亦都可能係呢一啲咁嘅塑膠玩具，又或者係甚至呢一啲嘅減壓嘅玩具。咁所以咧，其實我哋整體嚟講，俾爹哋媽咪一個好緊要嘅信息咧，就係好簡單。如果你係3歲以下嘅話，咁你真係要留意下嗰啲部件會唔會容易去剝落，跟住然後令到你去吞入。咁另外咧就係真係玩嗰陣時，亦都係要小心翻下嗰個清潔嗰方面嘅問題，不論洗手同埋呢啲玩具自己本身究竟乾唔乾淨。咁仲有咧就係真係若果係有某一啲嘅產品譬如我哋呢次測試做到出嚟嘅話，都係睇到咧呢一類型嘅產品嗰個問題係會比較大啲嘅話咧，咁其實咧就即係爹哋媽咪亦都要再要諗一諗啦。咁因為譬如話我哋以前亦都做過其他玩具嘅測試，譬如嗰啲鬼口水啦，咁但係亦都係發現咧佢裡面咧有一啲嘅污染嘅物質，都係對 BB 對細路仔嚟講咧，都係會有構成一啲嘅風險嘅。咁所以咧，我哋唔可以講話邊一類係會比較係安全，但係我諗一啲基本嗰個嘅原則，大家自己都真係要留意住。咁同埋就係不時都要留意翻下喺坊間裡面一啲嘅資訊啦。咁同埋我哋特別係本會嗰啲測試嘅嗰個內容啦，都係好值得參考嘅。
其實大家睇翻咧，今期選擇月刊咧，我哋係做咗呢啲咁嘅玩具咧，係有一啲玩具咧，係無論屬於舒壓嘅直膠玩具啦，或者沐浴玩具啦，或者擠壓嘅玩具咧，其實都有一啲咧係冇呢個塑化劑，亦都冇呢個多環芳香烴嘅。咁所以即係話咧，呢一款嘅塑膠玩具啦，呢一大類啦，其實個選擇係好多好多嘅。咁所以家長咧，只要係留意下啦，我哋嘅測試結果同埋佢嘅說明書啦，或者係自己小心啲啦，就應該可以係用翻呢個塑膠玩具俾小朋友，因為係有選擇嘅。咁正如正話阿堅嚟講咧，係好多嘅玩具，好多種類啦，其實都有呢樣嗰樣嘅問題。咁所以咧係只係需要咧係大家家長係注意呢個情況。咁我覺得洗手係好重要，
做足清潔
嚇。
《東方日報》嘅問題，佢話市面上面咧而家見到唔少嘅塑膠玩具都冇標籤，請問係咪有違反到相關嘅條例，定係政府暫時係未有呢方面嘅監管呢？
唔係嘅，其實咧，我哋玩具同埋兒童產品安全條例裏面咧，都係對呢一啲嘅標籤嗰方面咧係有要求嘅。咁因為咧，除咗話佢有佢本身附加嗰個嘅安全同埋嗰個安全嘅標準同埋規定咧，都係要有一啲識別嘅標記嘅，譬如話個製造商啦、進口商啦、供應商啦、嗰啲名啦，同埋香港嘅地址啦。因為如果有啲咩問題嗰陣時，個消費者可以去揾翻嗰個商戶去做翻嗰個嘅投訴啦。咁同埋咧一啲嘅警告嘅句語咧，譬如話係一定要雙語啦，即係中文英文一定要喺度啦。咁同埋咧就係亦都係有要求咧，就一定要符合嗰個塑化劑嗰個濃度嗰個規定嘅。所以咧香港事實上係有法例咧去規管翻呢一個玩具同埋兒童嗰啲嘅產品。咁但係有見及我哋呢一個嘅測試嘅結果咧，咁可能都真係需要再要加強呢一方面嗰個嘅抽查，同埋去檢查翻呢一啲樣管咧係咪真係符合到呢一個安全嘅測試。因為過往我哋做唔同嘅玩具嗰個嘅測試嗰陣時咧，都發現有林林種種唔同嘅問題。咁所以小朋友係對我哋嚟講係一啲叫做比較弱勢啲嘅消費者。咁所以喺呢一方面咧，可能有關嘅當局咧都真係要再加強呢一方面嘅執法啦。
We know our questions from the SCMP. Sample number 25 has been singled out as exceeding Hong Kong regulatory limit by 250 times. Has Consumer Council reach out to the trader for comments?
Definitely yes. Reasons being is we have a standard procedure to reach out all the traders involved every time when we conduct a product test. But unfortunately, after we're reaching out to this manufacturer, we receive no response at all. So that's the reaction, that we received. That means no reaction.
Another question from SCMP. Why was there a huge increase in complaints in 2021 as compared to the previous 2 years? What were the main complaints about? If we look at the figure, 2021 we received 273 cases. As compared with 2020, it's only 150 cases. It is almost doubled, increased by 80%. The main reasons for the huge increase is because of delivery problem. So when I check out all the different complaint cases, the content of them, we found many toys purchased. Actually, those are online purchase. So if there's a long delay in the delivery or even non-delivery, that will create a huge problem. So if we look at the number, 2021, we received 137 cases on this category, on this complaint nature, as compared with 53 cases in 2020. So the main increase is about this area. Another major increase is about the quality of product. In 2021, we received 39 cases as compared with 2020, only 20 cases. It is about broken toys, damaged toys, or maybe it's already opened up, or even there's a discrepancy between the photo and also the product by itself. And also, some of them is even have some is a little bit damaged. So this is the main nature of complaint. By reading all the different kinds of complaint cases, their content, one thing that I have to sidetrack a little bit, but it's very important, is if you buy very expensive toys online, like figures, like some very expensive models, you really have to be mindful about the credibility and reliability of the seller. We encountered cases that after the complainant bought very expensive toys from the seller, there's a non-delivery, or even there's suspected to be fake products. There were cases that because of some limited edition figures or maybe teddy bears, it's very expensive, that could cost even $20,000, $50,000, but turn out it is a fake product. So when you buy very expensive toys online, be mindful about the reliability and credibility of the shop that you purchase from. 跟住落嚟咧係到關於噴鼻劑嘅問題嘅。The English channel of the RHHK asked, the Consumer Council managed to buy some of the nasal sprays without doctor's prescription. How would you comment on the current supervision by the government? And how can authorities ensure only people with doctor's prescription can buy the nasal sprays?
I think according to the Hong Kong regulations, those nasal sprays that are under prescription drugs or the drugs that have to sell under supervision is a regulation and a legislation in Hong Kong. But unfortunately, a lot of the pharmaceutical company or the shops, drug stores, they do not really follow this kind of regulations. And therefore, I think it's a very, very important government authorities will step up of this kind of more patrol, more regulations. Or the regulation is there, but whether people is follow the regulation or they violate the regulation and do it. So I think the government and the authority can have more patrol on this part to ensure that they will not sell the product which are under subscription or under the supervision. This is actually similar to a lot of what we call the antibiotics. Actually, if you remember, a lot of antibiotics, they are under the doctor's subscription, but still you can buy in the drugstores. And therefore, it's actually it's the drugstore side that need to pay attention not to sell this product against the regulation. On the other side, I think the consumer also need to bear in mind, these are prescription drugs, or they are drugs under supervision sales, under the supervision for sale. And therefore, they should not just walk into the drugstores and ask for the drugs because it's not for their own benefit. And they might misuse it, or they might cause some even adverse effect on their health. So it's both sides. Actually, it's three sides. One is the drugstores. One is the government side, and one is the consumer side. And I would say this case is actually similar to the maluse or abuse of the antibiotic situation.
Probably exactly right that stepping up the patrolling is very important, and probably the authority have to review the penalty from time to time as well, because right now the penalty for every sentence is the highest penalty amount is $100,000 and also put into jail for 2 years. But if such situations continue to worsen, probably the authority may have to review also the penalty as well to increase the deterrent effect to those to the pharmacies if they are selling illegal drugs.
咁係一條關於私營龕位嘅問題嘅，點解骨灰龕安放權個價格會有咁大嘅懸殊咧？消費者購買嘅時候需要注意啲乜嘢嘢？
好啦，咁啲骨灰龕位點解有啲會咁貴，有啲會咁平咧？其實就會睇下你喺邊個位置，即係同一個龕場啦，當然唔同龕場就好難比較啦。咁如果同一個龕場咧，就會睇你安放嘅位置。咁大家都知道咧，如果係中間啦、視線水平啦，咁咪最好啦。好高好低都唔好啦，因為好難拜祭噶嘛。咁另外就景觀啦。咁如果你譬如一望出去咧，一望無敵嘅海景啊，有山景，咁啊風水又好好啦，咁啊景觀開揚，咁啊環境梗係較佳啦。咁所以有好多時咧風水問題、景觀問題、位置問題咧，都會令到佢嘅價格咧係會又高又低嘅。咁所以咧就好每個買嘅時候咧都會去揀，然之後咧睇下個價錢合唔合理先至啱嘅。咁另外咧，有時咧就都會睇翻咧，譬如話唔同龕場咧就好難比啦，因為佢嘅地理位置會影響佢啦。咁另外咧就係安放年期都會影響佢啦，佢有冇其他手續費啦，咁全部好多嘢加埋一齊咧，所以令到嗰個龕位咧就會好大嘅唔同嘅價格。咁如果同一個龕場咧，基本上就真係睇個位置，就係話佢喺咪中間位置啊，係咪風水好啊，係咪風涼水冷啊，係咪景觀開揚啊，咁都會影響嘅。咁當然一人位同埋兩人位同埋家族位都唔同嘅價錢啦。咁所以即係話咧，我哋買嘅時候咧係要好審慎考慮咗我哋需要啲乜嘢，跟住佢個價格係咪合理，同埋佢個詳情嘅細則咧係咪我哋會知道咗佢啲條文係點樣樣。咁以後如果改名啊唔改名又點樣樣，咁呢啲都係要考慮嘅因素嚟嘅。咁樓層好重要啦，咁有啲人唔想好高噶嘛，咁但係有啲人中意高層啦。咁但係點都嚟講咧，好矮層咧其實價錢都會平啲嘅。
我想去翻噴鼻劑嗰度去提一提翻消費者，因為而家疫情關係咧，咁同埋我哋亦都係今次呢一個研究裏面咧都睇到咧，喺某一啲嘅藥房咧都可以買到呢一啲係需要處方嘅噴鼻劑。咁但係都要提一提消費者咧，因為而家個疫情關係，好多人都諗住喺藥房嗰度咧係買定一紮藥咧就有備無患。咁可能咧有啲消費者都買咗呢一啲咁嘅藥性嘅噴鼻劑，咁但係我真係要提醒下大家咧，呢一啲嘅藥性嘅噴鼻劑咧，主要嘅作用係嚟做咩嘅咧？就係舒緩呢一個鼻敏感嗰個症狀。咁但係若果係受到細菌或者係病毒嘅感染嗰陣時咧，其實咧大家都係需要一個醫生嘅處方咧，就係去做一個適當嘅藥物嘅治療嘅。咁所以咧就大家唔好諗住喺屋企有呢啲噴鼻劑有理冇理覺得係有啲症狀嗰陣時咧，就即刻攞嚟去用，咁可能咧就係反而咧會有一個反效果。咁呢度都一定要提一提消費者。
仲有一個關於噴鼻劑咧，記住嚇，係有啲咧係唔可以成日噴嘅，即係唔可以用好耐嘅。我正話講嗰個咧，就譬如血管收縮嗰個噴鼻劑咧，係最多1個星期嘅啫，唔可以用超過1個星期嘅，因為咧你會越噴咧就會有越反效果，越噴就越塞㗎。咁所以咧，即係話咧，你要注意咧，每一個藥你買嘅時候咧，其實佢會説明咧係可以用幾耐。咁如果個説明上面冇話可以用幾耐嗰啲咧，其實係有啲問題。咁大家咧就要注意。咁當然，好似我哋話齋咧，就一定要問醫生、問藥劑師，就唔可以咧自把自為去做出嚟嘅。
咁我哋翻去骨灰龕嘅問題啦。咁就《東方日報》就問呢，就境外嘅龕位呢，請問消費者除咗可以查詢當地人去了解龕場係咪合法之外呢，目前會唔會有啲咩嘅網頁或者政府資訊可以整合到廣東省入邊嘅合法龕場嘅名單嘅呢？
我諗暫時係真係未有呢一方面嘅資料嘅，咁所以咧就點解我哋都要提醒消費者咧？咁當然好多消費者都好希望揾一個比較平啲同埋比較即係比較長遠嘅龕位去俾翻自己嘅先人。咁 咁呢一個係完全可以理解嘅。咁但係即係千祈唔好草率咁樣去購買，個原因係真係個法例上邊嗰個嘅唔同啦，個規管上面嘅唔同啦。究竟而家喺香港銷售嘅嗰啲唔同嘅境外嘅龕位係咪真係合乎當地嗰個嘅要求或者係法例啦？咁同埋咧，記住咧，啲錢咧就係一次過付款，冇冷靜期，亦都可能有其他嘅附加費用。咁你買咗之後咧，就真係好難去追討㗎。而家亦都冇一個特定嘅法例咧，就係去規管境外購買呢一個龕位。咁所以咧，就大家真係要非常之小心。咁情願你係花多少少時間去問翻當地嘅親戚朋友，又或者係當地嘅消保組織，又或者係揾佢哋俾一啲帶領你去邊一啲嘅政府嘅機關係可以問到相關嘅資料咧，總問清楚好過你草率嘅決定。咁俾咗錢之後咧，嗰啲追討咧就真係好難會去處理到。
咁或者提醒大家啦，我哋有問過廣州市消委會咧，係即係關於喺廣州市嘅呢個龕場嘅問題啦。咁廣州市消委會咧就話俾我哋聽咧，有關龕場咧喺當地咧係屬於宗教嘅場所嚟嘅啫，只係提供嘅先人供奉服務，僅限於信眾，同埋咧係唔允許公開銷售同埋作廣告宣傳或者投機炒賣或者抬價㗎。咁所以如果香港咧，你收到有啲人話可以喺廣州幫你做呢嚿嘢咧，咁你要睇下個龕場咧係屬於咩性質嘅。咁唔係所有龕場都可以公開去宣傳發售或者宣傳嘅，有啲係有特定嘅用途，有啲係宗教場所嚟嘅。咁所以咧，當我哋買呢啲即係我哋所謂隔山買牛啦，我哋真係要好小心。咁亦都咧係香港亦都冇法例可以保證到你喺外邊買咗呢個吉福龕位，如果有問題嘅時候咧，我哋係幫唔到你嘅。咁呢個大家要注意。
咁最後係去到關於網購投訴嘅問題啦。咁呢個係綜合咗Now TV 同埋商台嘅問題嘅。喺舊年嘅投訴入邊咧，涉及最大嘅損失金額係幾多？有幾多個個案咧係轉交咗執法部門跟進，或者係甚至乎被起訴，調停咗幾多嘅個案呢？
其實喺舊年全年嚟講咧，我哋收到7001宗有關於網購嘅投訴。咁如果話涉及最大金額嗰個嘅個案咧，係有成527000蚊嘅。咁點解會咁貴咧？呢一個個案其實咧，呢個個案咧係一個國內嘅朋友咧，佢係透過網購，佢係買2隻好貴嘅錶。咁佢買嗰陣時咧，就可能佢同嗰間鋪頭都應該係過往亦都有啲交易嘅。咁啊透過微信啦，咁啊大家去溝通嗰陣時咧，就佢鍾情2隻錶，咁所以咧就決定去買。咁佢嗰陣時之前咧都已經係問咗嗰間鋪頭咧，就有冇方法可以寄到俾佢啦。咁嗰間鋪頭咧都拍晒心口話，總之有方法咧，我可以送到貨嘅，你唔需要擔心。咁但係點知咧，就係遲遲都送唔到貨，咁就用其他方法都唔得。咁原本咧，甚至咧就話不如你去澳門攞啦，咁個客都諗住去澳門攞都好啊，咁但係咧因為個疫情咧，就喺國內咧去出境咧，亦都係會有佢嗰個嘅難處。咁所以嬲尾咧，佢當然就係想退款啦。咁但係個鋪頭又唔肯幫佢退款，咁就純粹就話我幫你保管啦，直到你嚟到嗰陣時先攞翻。咁所以咧個消費者咧就覺得係非常之唔合理嘅，因為你之前話俾我聽實有方法送到貨俾我啊嘛嚇，咁但係竟然係送唔到嘅話，咁我退款你又唔肯，咁所以咧就嚟咗消委會呢一度投訴嘅。咁但係咧經過我哋一輪嘅調停之後咧，就都係達成唔到個共識㗎。咁所以咧仍然個消費者都要同個商戶咧去繼續去處理，又或者係透過法律嘅途徑咧去追討翻佢呢一方面嘅損失。咁而若果喺我哋喺有關於網購嗰方面嗰個嘅成功處理嗰個嘅比率咧，就大約去到70%度，咁同我哋一般嘅投訴處理嗰個嘅比率咧，都係差唔多，略為高啲嘅。如果講網購，咁而有幾多個個案已經轉交咗執法部門去跟進呢？我哋去年呢，就係轉交咗140個個案呢，係俾海關去跟進。咁但係有幾多係被起訴呢？我哋呢一方面呢，因為我哋唔係執法機關，所以我哋唔會知道究竟喺我哋嘅轉介嘅個案裡面呢，有幾多係採納就係已經係會去到呢一個起訴嗰個階段。咁所以咧呢一方面可能大家就要問翻海關啦。
好，咁最後一條關於網購嘅問題嘅，咁就住個案一嗰度咧，個買家就用賣家就用濾鏡嚟到改變咗產品嘅實際外貌，呢一度會唔會先涉及咗一啲法律嘅問題，譬如話商品説明條例啊咁咧？本港有冇法例嘅規管網購㗎？
其實若果係商戶係用一啲濾鏡 去改變咗貨品嗰個嘅大細啦、形狀啦、外貌啦等等啦，咁其實都有機會觸犯咗呢一個商品説明條例嘅。咁當然啦，亦都係要睇翻咧，究竟呢一個虛假同埋誤導嘅性質，究竟係咪去到一個關鍵嘅程度啦？咁因為如果係有少少嘅錯誤，又或者係有丁咁多嘅參誤嘅話咧，咁唔一定係構成呢個商品説明條例嘅違反呢一個條例嘅。咁所以咧就一定要係咪去到一個好關鍵性嘅情況啦？譬如話，如果係一卡鑽石，你用嗰濾鏡整完出嚟之後咧，竟然係唔係應該話係好細粒嘅鑽石，你用濾鏡或者係透過鏡頭，好似整到好大粒咁樣，好似好抵，亦都唔講話係嗰個卡數嘅話咧，咁就可能真係構成咗呢一個虛假嘅商品説明條例啦。咁但係有另外一樣嘢咧都要提下咧，就係嗰個誤導性遺漏嗰個問題啦。因為若果係啲產品自己本身係有一啲比較重要嘅瑕疵，咁但係咧，而買家係透過濾鏡係隱藏咗呢一個咁重要嘅資訊嘅話咧，咁有機會咧就係構成咗呢一個誤導性遺漏嘅。咁所以咧喺網購上邊，如果係諗住直播帶貨，又或者喺網上嗰度直銷都好啦嚇，其實我哋都係要提醒翻所有嘅商戶咧，商品説明條例咧都係應用喺所有嘅網購上邊。咁所以大家咧都絕對係一定要留意翻法例上面嗰個要求，同埋係嗰個如果你係即係諗住係踩界去灰色咁樣去嘅話咧，其實咧都係會以身試法，係大家都係要留意翻嘅。
咁簡單嚟講咧，就係直播帶貨咧，其實同實體商店咧都係同樣受到法例規管嘅，而受嘅法例都一樣嘅。咁除咗正話我哋嘅總幹事講嘅商品説明條例之外咧，其實佢都受到貨品售賣條例同埋其他特定嘅條例嘅守則嚟到監管嘅。咁所以即係話咧，其實係冇分別嘅。咁只不過咧，有時咧，你喺網上嘅時候咧，你係入咗個私人戶口，咁你貨不對版咧，就好難去追啦。咁好似我哋今日個案二咧，即係其中一個我今日冇講咧，就係個個案二咧，就係貨到付款。咁佢拆開包之後唔啱咧，佢追唔到啊！嗰個送貨人話唔關我事，我就係送貨。咁跟住交翻去個鋪頭，個鋪頭都唔存在。咁呢啲咧就好難追。咁就係法例上面咧，其實一樣嘅。咁所以點解我哋話消費者你網上咧就買貨嘅時候咧，最好唔好將啲錢咧入去嗰個私人戶口，亦都唔好以為咧貨到付款咧好安全，因為其實好多時咧你都唔俾你拆收就要交錢㗎啦。咁所以咧就最好咧就係揾一啲商譽好嘅，同埋咧佢個平台咧係一個商業機構，係有足夠嘅商業資料，有商業嘅戶口。咁你俾咗錢之後咧，都起碼容易追啲咯。如果個人戶口或者你個網上唔見咗啦，佢收咗工之後咧，你真係追唔到嘅。咁所以法例咧係一樣，不過咧係追討，我覺得係佢容易唔見咗啦。
好，唔該晒 Professor Tam， 唔該晒 Gilly。咁今日我哋嘅新聞發佈會咧嚟到呢度就完結啦，多謝晒咁多位。